Vocabulary development occurs every time we have a new word to be learned. And so there's 4 stages that show a child understands a word. So when we start out with a new word, it is level 1, an unknown word. It's a word they don't recognize and they've never heard of, and we've all been there. Moving into level 2 is where we have initial recognition of a word. This is where we have seen or heard of the word, but we don't know what it means. That is even occurred in this classroom. You may notice that the levels that we're talking about correlate with the activity you did in Stormboard for the week of phonics and word identification. And I gave you 6 words, and you went into Stormboard and you rated them a 1, a 2, or a 3. That's because I wanted to know where you were in your development of those vocabulary words related to our learning. It's important for the teacher to know what level a student is on, but it's also important for the student to recognize that they have some learning to do for words. So we have that stage of initial recognition where you have heard the word, but you're not really comfortable with it. And that leads us to stage 3, where we have partial word knowledge. This is where we know one meaning of the word, and we can use the word in a sentence, but probably if we ask too many questions of the student, they're going to get flustered because they're not really understanding the word. They just have a very underlying meaning of how to use it one way. The last level is level 4, and this is where we have full word knowledge. And this is where we want children to end up on every single word that's meaningful to them. This is where they know multiple meanings of the word, and they also can use it several ways. And they can use it when they're listening, when they're speaking, when they're reading, and when they're writing. And this is where we want to get to be. Just an example of this is where my daughter has every week a word of the week in her 4th grade classroom. And when she brings home the word on Monday, she looks it up and gets that definitional knowledge. And then she has to use it in a sentence. So she's moving, from level 1 to level 2 to even level 3. But she will then ask me several times, well, what does this word really mean? And that's where we start to look at it. And we see that here's how some people use it, and here's a book that it's in. Let's listen to it there. And the more that we play with the word, that by the end of the week, I feel like she has full word knowledge if she can make connections to her new vocabulary word and things around her. Another example of vocabulary development is when boys and girls don't know that words have these multiple meanings. My same daughter in 4th grade brought home a paper the other day, and she had several mistakes on it, and she was kind of upset. And the activity was read the sentence and then tell she had to tell if the word was a noun or a verb. Well, she looked at the word, but she didn't look at the sentence. And so many of the words in the sentence were used that had multiple meanings. She didn't even know some of those words were verbs when they look like nouns, or vice versa. An example of this would be, the sentence said, we went to the play on Sunday. So she looked at the word play because it was underlined, and she said, oh, I play outside, it's a verb. Upon reading the sentence, she said, oh, a play is also a noun. It's a place where you go. So students don't always recognize that the same word, especially if it's spelled the same and has multiple meanings, can be used many different ways. And we need to get to that level 4, even on simple words. A simple word like play, if you don't think about it, you don't always realize it. So vocabulary development has those 4 stages. We need to assess those stages before, during, and after we teach the words.